Okay. So we're going to start in on Capitulum Octavum, the Taberna Romana, Pars Prima, or Chapter 8, Part 1. And so let's begin with our Oratio Initialis. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum. Benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. So I got a couple of things first from the last time, ex ultimo tempore. Mala. So we talked about apples in the Garden of Eden and how in Latin, malum, with a long A, means apple, or is translated as apple. But really, it's a kind of a generic word for that type of fruit. So it could be anything with a skin and a center core. So that would eliminate like strawberries, but still leaves quite a bit of possibility. And there's a general consensus, although it's not provable because Jerome never actually wrote it down, but they suspect that Jerome, who did the Vulgate, and actually there were earlier translations than Jerome's into Latin, but anyway, they suspect he picked Malum as a play on words, with Malum being evil. So who knows? But Latin really doesn't require it to be the fruit we call apple today. And in fact, if you go throughout history, there's plenty of examples in art where it was not your apple. Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel fresco features a serpent coiled around a fig tree. And actually, fig trees are fairly popular. And if you think about that area of the where the Garden of Eden is in the Middle East there and all that, figs are all over the place, not so much apples. So figs were a popular thing in art to portray. What happened was, in fact, there's a 13th century fresco that had mushrooms. So yeah, quite a few things. Anyway, what happened was about 1504, there was Dürer, who was a very famous German artist, depicted Adam and Eve beside an apple tree. So, and that became a very famous engraving, that just everybody sort of adopted. And so from about the 16th century onward, the apple was kind of the standard in artwork, and that's how it propagated in there. Our apple tree is called the Malus pumila, or the Malus domestica. So you can kind of see where that goes, domestic apple. And again, notice that malus, as in apple, is feminine, one of the few US ending words that are actually feminine. Well, what about the other one? Well, it turns out Greek and Hebrew use generic words here too in Genesis. Greek uses karpos, which also means fruit, and pomegranates and figs were especially popular in the Greek-speaking lands. Part of it is the pomegranate. The pomegranate was featured in Greek mythology, and the so-called golden apples, which were actually golden pomegranates, if you remember the story. So Hebrew also uses the generic term peri, which can be any fruit, and various rabbinic commentators over the years have called it a fig, a pomegranate, a grape, an apricot, a citron, your choice. So it does not necessarily have to be an apple. But
question,
Yeah.
Since malum seems to be a generic term for fruit, is there a specific term for apples?
Malum would, okay. Let me clarify that. Malum is the term for a particular form of fruit. One that has a skin on the outside and has a central core. Okay. So a strawberry is a fruit, but that would not be the correct term for a strawberry. There's a
Is there a
generic term for fruit, fructus. And in fact, you may have seen it. Fructus. Okay. Ventris tui Jesus. This is the generic term for fruit, any kind of fruit.
okay, let me rephrase my question. Since malum seems to be a generic term for that type of fruit that
Right.
has the skin and the core, is there a specific term for apple only?
No.
Okay.
Unless you want to refer to it as a Malus familia or Malus domestica.
Okay.
And that's genus and species. So anyway, yeah, it's also in Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. So we'll just have to ask Adam and Eve when we next see them, exactly what it was. So
I've heard it was a quince. I've heard that
quinces are popular. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, it could peach qualifies as having a skin, a fleshy part, and a center core. Lots of fruits that
yeah.
Are like that. I thought I would mention annuli. Salve, Alex. I thought I would mention annuli or rings, since if you've managed to read chapter 8, you will find that they are prominently featured. The modern custom of exchanging rings in marriage really got its start with the Romans, the ancient Romans. And they traditionally placed it on the ring finger because it was believed to have a connection to the heart. The vein running through the ring finger, for some reason or other, was somehow it ran all the way to the heart. I'm not sure how they determined that exactly, but now don't get me wrong in that, in ancient Rome, like today, rings have a whole lot of other meanings. So as we read chapter 8, it's not like Medus and I can't think of his girlfriend's name. Wow, I'm blanking. Oh well, it's not like they were getting married or anything. But anyway, I thought I would mention that. And lastly, something you might like to look up, the Orbis Pictus. Orbis Pictus, which literally means pictures of the world. There is a gentleman by the name of Comenius who published this in 1658. Lydia, thank you, Francis. Yeah, that's right. He wrote this to teach Latin, basically. And typically there's lots of different editions out of there. Once he printed the first one, it just took off. I believe the first one was actually in German, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, it had the vernacular on one side and Latin on the other side. And if you want to go to the Gutenberg link there, you can see a copy of it. I pasted a few pages in here. I don't know how readable that is over Zoom. Can you guys read that any?
If you get it large, it would help.
Okay. I'll tell you what, I'm going to do it this way. There.
There we go. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I actually have it in ebook form. So anyway, it starts out invitation. So M is the magister and P is the puer. So he says, Veni puer, dice sapere. Well, we've seen leveni, come, boy. Disce, sorry, is learn. Whoops, sorry. I just went to the next page. There we go. Hold on. There.
It's up at the top. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. And sapere is to be wise. The human species is Homo sapiens, and that sapiens meaning the wise man or wise guy. Sapere is sapiens. It comes from sapere. It's the was it the gerund form. So anyway, so he says, quid hoc est sapere, intelligere recte, agere recte, et eloqui recte, omnia necessaria. So you can see it's pretty simple Latin. There's parts that you guys haven't had, but the other nice thing is it has a lot of whoops, where it happened to the crow here? Oh, the crow. Oh, it's on this page. Cornix, cornicatur, So the crow crows. So they have the sounds of the animals, and it's very much, God plays an important part in creation here. So anyway, okay, here's an easy part. The heavens, Chelum, and it's a little hard to see in this print, but there are numbers. You might be able to see that 9 in there, hiding in there. Anyway, he numbered some of the various things that are in this picture. So Chelum habet ignum et stellas. The heavens have fire and stars. Nubes pendent in aere. The clouds hang in the air. So, you might it might be useful to pick up some words and stuff. And anyway, it's just kind of a nice thing.
Yeah, I like it.
So anyway, there's the link to Gutenberg. And if you have an Apple device, you can actually get a copy of it in the application books. And it doesn't cost you anything. So something to think about. Anyway, on to, let me get the right one here. All right. Where is it? There it is. So anyway, on to the story here. We kind of touched a little bit about this last time. Taberna Romana. And I thought I would mention taberna is a very generic term. You can translate it as hut, because really what it is it's a hut or a stall that's built with wood, wood sides is in the most general sense of it. And so the word shop, you can certainly translate it as a small shop or stall. Maybe stall is even a better use of the word. But you may be familiar with its diminutive tabernacula, for which we have our word tabernacle. Now, a tabernacula means a small hut, or in the case of common usage in Latin, tent. So if you'll recall, in the Old Testament, the Ark of the Covenant was initially kept in tents. And so that's where we get the word in the church, is from the fact that the Ark of the Covenant was kept in a tent or a tabernacula. And let's face it, if you see a tabernacle in a church, it is in a small house or hut. So they're all related.
Michael?
Yes.
No, I don't know if there's any connection between the two, but at least the way it's displayed in this image, it looks like the taberna has these drapes that, in a sense, kind of resemble a sort of a tent-like appearance. I'm just curious whether or not that was usually the case. You have something like that.
No, the taberna in this context really meant any little shop.
I know it means shop, but
So,
I'm just curious, given the appearance that you see there.
no, not particularly. I think they just decided to portray it that way.
Okay.
And it makes a certain amount of sense that the shopkeeper here may have his stock in the back. So, having a drapes there, a curtain probably makes sense. But I'm
That's
not
kind of
aware of any.
interesting because most of the uses I've seen of taberna were not taverns, but actually little food shops that would have hot pots where you could get
Yeah,
peas porridge and sausages. And if it was a shop, it would be a portus, like the Portus Margarita, where you would go to buy pearls.
yeah. Yeah, they had
Kind of like outlet is really like.
Well, for Portos, yeah, that would be a good use for it. Yeah, Taberna was a little more general. I mean, if you look at the full range of Latin dictionaries and literature, they did have words for and certainly the little what should we call them, snack stands, for lack of a better term, that were all over Rome, would be referred to as a taberna. But they also had thermopolium, which was specifically for hot food. And then they also had calpona, which was a little more general. We might call it a bar and grill today.
Yeah,
So
Calperna would have hot food,
Calpona.
whereas
Calpurna was
yes, would have hot food, whereas a taberna often would have food that had been originally cooked but then was sold cold.
cold. Yeah.
That, at least in Rome, they had very strict food requirements on what could be sold hot. They were worried about, food contamination.
Food poisoning, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, but, a taberna, certainly, I mean, there were certainly, really, you might want to just translate taberna or think of taberna as stall. So it could be a food stall, an antique stall, a jeweler's stall, and eyeglasses. Could be anything. And certainly food was one of them. But anyway, let's get started on reading here. Anybody want to take the first paragraph?
I'll try it.
Good. Thank you.
Okay. Ecce taberna Romana, in qua gemme et margarite multe sunt. Cujus est hec taberna? Albini est. Albinus hanc tabernum habet. Qui tabernum habet tabernarius est. Albinus est tabernarius Romanus qui gemmas et margaritas vendit. Alii tabernarii libros vendunt, alii mala et pyrrha, alii rosas et lilia.
Good.
Look at the Roman shop or stall.
Or see.
I beg your pardon?
I like the word see.
Behold.
Well,
see.
behold, yeah, I know. Behold is certainly, certainly if you're going to say ecce agnus Dei qui tollis peccata mundi, look, It doesn't cut it. Behold.
Okay, see, behold,
Yeah,
behold the Roman
I
doll.
kind of like look. Just
Okay.
that's me.
Look,
Go on,
the
go on.
Roman doll, in which jewels and pearls, in which there are jewels, many jewels and pearls. Whose shop is this? It is Albinus's or Albinus's. Albinus has this shop. He who has a taberna is a tabernarius.
Oh, very good. I was waiting for you to hit that sentence. It's a bit tricky.
Yeah.
Continue.
Albinus is the Roman tabernarius who sells jewelry and jewels and pearls. Other tabernariuses sell books, others pears and apples and pears, others roses and lilies. You want me to continue?
No, that was very good. I wanted to point out this sentence. This is not a question. Okay. In fact, maybe now's a good time to segue over to the slides. We have, let me go up here. We have three kinds of pronouns: interrogative, relative, and demonstrative. Okay. Now, let's hop down here. The interrogative are the quis, quae, quid form. So, quis est, who art thou? Qui viri sunt, who are the men? Qui and viri have to agree. Quae mater Jesus est, who is the mother of Jesus? Cuius filius dicit, whose son, or the son of whom, is speaking. Quarum filiae canunt, whose daughters are singing. Quid est Creta, what is Crete? Quae insulae sunt, what are islands? Quem Julius verberat, who does Julius beat? So you need to match, for the interrogative pronoun, the part of speech that it needs to form in the question. So in this case, Julius verberat who? Okay.
You could say whom.
Or whom. Yeah, maybe whom is better. But it's quis quae quid. All right. And here's the conjugation. I've had this chart before. I've changed it slightly. But if we go back to here, let me pop up there we go. Here we have qui, okay. Well, we have a qui. Well, actually, we don't have a qui in quis, quae, quid. There are no quis in here, okay. So that should tip you off that it's what's known as a relative pronoun. And that relative pronoun introduces a clause which modifies some sort of, oh, wait a minute. Are we, hold on here. Do I want, am I getting ahead of myself? Oh, no, I'm not getting it. I'm not getting ahead of myself. Whoop. Wait a minute. I lost my page. There we go. So there's a clause there that is referring back to some antecedent noun, which really doesn't happen for the interrogative pronouns. So in English, who, whose, whom, what, which. So in English, the Lord, who is just and merciful, will judge us in the end. So the clause here is who is just and merciful, and is describing Lord. And Friday, which is a day of abstinence, we do not eat meat. So the which is referring back to the Friday. And so you can, maybe a way of helping to remember it is a relative pronoun relates back to a concrete noun that's in the sentence. And here we go. So now relative pronouns are qui, que, quad.
This is, I always remember this because there's a rather amusing Doctor Who episode
Right.
where the entire episode he's referred to as the Great Queequeg Quad.
Yes. Yes. So here we have a qui. So let's pop back to oops, where'd it go here? There we go. Whoop, no, it's up here. So qui tabernum habat. So Latin has a pretty free way of ordering this. And so in English, you got to say something like he who has a shop is the shopkeeper. We probably wouldn't say it that way. We would say the shopkeeper is he who has a shop. So we would
Or maybe who has a shop as a shopkeeper.
yeah, that's a possibility too.
Whoever has a shop,
Yeah, we use a whoever. Yeah.
But the point here is the he is understood with the who.
Right. And it's totally unnecessary in Latin. It's buried in the qui here. So the two look very similar. You know, you have qui, quem, cuius, cui, quo, qui, quos, quorum, quibus, quibus. And if I jump back here, you know, the really the only ones that are different are the qui, the que, and this is a quid instead of a quad. So but otherwise quorum and you know, so
You don't need the is before the qui.
yeah. So they look pretty much similar. You don't really have to stress over them, but realize that if it's not a question, then it's a relative pronoun. Okay. And adjust accordingly. So
unfortunately, we have punctuation to help us figure that out.
In English, you do.
Yeah.
So anyway, so anybody want to take the next paragraph?
I can try it.
Okay.
Gemmae et margaritae sunt ornamenta. Annulus cum gemna ornamentum pulchrum est. Etiam is it linea or linea? Linea?
Linea.
Etiam linea cum margaritis ornamentum est. Linea sine margaritis non est ornamentum.
Yeah.
So gems and go. I'm sorry.
Try to make that e a little shorter.
Linea.
Yeah.
Okay, linea.
Yeah. When you put them together like that, it does tend to lengthen. But you know, do the best.
Okay. So gems and pearls are ornaments. Rings with gems are pretty ornaments, or how would you say that? Pretty ornaments?
Beautiful.
Yeah. I would be
pilgrim.
tempted to do ornamentum here as jewelry. Now,
Okay.
it doesn't have to be. Okay. And this is where we're well, actually, let me let me bring this one up. There, it's easier to see. Or whoops.
They're trying to use it for decorative or something like that. Yeah.
There we go. So you're right. It literally means anything ornamental, any bauble or fancy thing. But in this case, you know, it is being used for a specific case for jewelry. So I would be, I mean,
So for this particular story,
well, the Romans tended to be great. They tended to lump a lot of stuff under one word. because of similarities. English likes to have a different word for everything. Not so much so in Latin. So, but bauble is fine. Ornament. In fact, we could, if we went back and, well, we'll look that up later and see what their dictionary says. But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So etiam linea cum margaritis ornamentum est. So that would be, I'm looking at linea. Oh, okay. So what they're calling linea is like a necklace.
Well, no, a linea is literally a line or a string.
I understand that. So, but they're talking about a linea with the pearls is ornamental, or is it an ornament as well? So, but I'm looking at the picture off to the left, and it looks like a necklace.
Yeah,
so
yeah, it'd be a string of pearls.
String of pearls. Okay.
Yeah.
So linea sine margaritis. Okay, so a string without pearls would not be ornamental. It would not be an ornament.
Right. It wouldn't be very much of a bauble.
It ain't pretty.
Yes, exactly. Let's see. Okay. Now I noticed that Teresa very cleverly avoided the next paragraph.
I could do it if you want me to. I told you I'm like way behind and have not had a good week. So
okay, well then maybe this will cheer you up. I don't know. It'll either help or hurt your headache. I don't know which way.
I'll give it a shot.
Give it a shot.
I suck at this already. So all right. Multe feminaeque in hac via ambulat ante tabernum. I can't see, that's a period there. Okay, tabernum albini consistunt.
Yeah, let's hold on. I think I can zoom in a little there.
Okay, thank you.
There we go.
That helps. Okay, so multe feminaeque in hac via ambulant ante tabernum. Tabernum is, I'm getting my accents all screwed up. Is it tabernum or tabernum?
Tabernum.
Tabernum. Okay. Albini
is never on the last syllable.
Okay. Albini consistent.
I thought it was tabernum because you always pronounce the second to last syllable.
Well, okay. No, the rule is you start the last syllable and you go to the previous one. Is it a long vowel or a short vowel? If it is long, then you stress it. If it's short, then you hop to the
previous.
Yeah. Okay, so, got it. Sorry to interrupt.
Tabernum.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Okay. Tabernum albini consistent non feminae ornamentis can't talk tonight. Delecantatur.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I will warn you, see, where English crams a bunch of words in the sentence, Latin has fewer words, but man, some of them are a lot longer.
They create more syllables in a word, we put more words in the sentence. Yeah. Okay, so many women who, via ambo, so they're walking in the road in hac. Oh, so many women who are walking in this road before Albini's store,
right?
Taberna, okay, consistent and consistent. I didn't get that because I thought that meant that was the word like it costs a certain amount, but that doesn't make any sense.
Yes. Oh, thank you, Teresa. You get extra points for noticing.
Oh, thank you.
They stop. They stop.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the sense. Okay, now the fun part. They're introducing a bunch of words in this particular chapter that have multiple levels of meaning that English does not have.
Let me guess. So they're walking, they come in front of a store and they ask how much things cost?
Yeah, well, no, the consistent do not mean ask. Let me pull up.
They stop at his shop.
Consistent. Did I type that right?
What's it made out of?
Consisto. To place oneself anywhere, to stand still, stand, halt, stop,
okay.
or to make a stop. Okay. remain, stand, and if we go all the way down here, let's see, let me do the other dictionary, maybe it'll show up better. Consisto, there we go. So yeah, it's from sto, which means to stand, sto stare, and then consisto literally means to stand there. But yeah, it can also mean price. We'll when we come to price, I'll talk about that again. But for
Okay.
the moment, we'll press on.
So for now, the sentence is there's women who are walking in the road there. They come to his store and they stop and
They
look.
stop, yeah.
Okay. So non femini ornamentis because for he has pretty things that they want to look at. Femini ornamentis I can't talk tonight. That word.
Yeah,
they like what they see and they're stopping to look. Eaque manium pecunium habet multi ornamental. Okay. So those women who have a lot of money will buy his jewelry. But the women, okay, que nullum
multa ornamenta will buy lots of jewelry.
Right. Que nullum what is wrong with my tongue today? Aut parvum pecunium have been ornamenta aspiciunt tantum non emunt. So those women who have little or no money will look, but they won't buy.
Yep.
Etiam viri multi ad hanc tabernum adeunt. So the many men ad hanc. So there's many men go to what odd means
Towards.
Okay, so their husbands are coming, I guess.
Well, many men also go to this shop.
Okay, I guess they're buying things for their wives. I think you mean
pecunium, not pecunium.
Pecunium.
Yes.
Did I say it wrong?
Pecunium. Yeah. The problem, Teresa, is you were in East Texas recently, right? Or talking to East Texas. Right?
Specifically my East Texas cousin, yes.
It's blown your accent totally out of the water.
I guess so.
Yeah, no, let's see, where was it? Etiam, and also viri multi, many men.
Many men.
Ediunt, go to. This is for it. Is the singular, he goes.
Right, and unt would be the plural.
And eunt is the plural, but adeunt means goes to. And we had adit and all those other ones.
Oh, that's right. You have the extra odd in there, which is common in the grammar. Okay, that threw me off. Yeah, okay.
So they often, many men go to this shop as well.
Because they're trying to keep their wife sweet. Okay.
I didn't say that.
It can be assumed. Okay, qui manium pecuniam habent ornamenta emunt et femini stant. So those who have a lot of money buy pretty things for their women to give to them.
Yep.
Ceri russus abiant. Others return.
Cetere.
Cetere. Thank you. I said, I must do this thing with my jaw that's screwing everything up. Okay.
Pretend you're speaking Spanish, and maybe you'll come out.
Italian. I actually did learn Italian at one point.
Okay.
Cetere russus abiant. So others return to him.
No.
Cetere. I thought cetere meant and others. Russus means to return.
Yeah, others.
Okay, others return. Okay, I'm losing it. I can't put that together.
Well, okay, we had adeunt, odd,
right,
approach,
which means to.
This is up.
So it's away.
Way, yeah.
But my brain's not making sense of it. I mean, I'm reading it.
Others turn away.
Okay, I'm seeing russus as return, and so return away.
Russus, russus means to turn.
Okay. I thought it was like to turn back or go back to. So that's where.
No, it's a generic turn here. You
So
are
that's why my brain wasn't putting the pieces together.
turned back or backwards, or to indicate the reverse of something.
See, that's where I was thinking of the returning, is to
Yes.
reverse something. Okay, but it also means just to simply to turn away. So,
Turn away. Yeah. So they walked in and they turned around and left.
okay. I went completely off the mark then.
No,
Okay, femine quorum viri manium pecuniam habent multa ornamenta a viris suis accipiunt.
Yep.
Okay, so the women whose men have a lot of money, multa ornamenta a viris suis accipiunt. I'm having a brain freeze again. So I see many ornaments, they're buying multiple pieces of jewelry.
Right.
A viris suis
Multa ornamenta. Let's start.
Right. Okay, that's multiple pieces of jewelry.
Right. Accipiunt.
And I had that written down in my notes, and now I can't remember what it was. This is not a good night. I'm sorry.
Except. As in ACCEPT.
Okay, so the women
Like
who have
an
the women who have husbands
excipient
that have money are accepting the jewelry from their husbands.
bibite.
The husbands are buying it for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, literally, women whose husbands have mucho dinero, a lot of moolah,
Are the lucky ones.
yeah, many ornaments from their men or husbands.
Or much jewelry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or much jewelry. Yeah. So you can and presume it doesn't have to be husbands.
Boyfriends.
It could be boyfriends or anything. Now, you will use the word vir if you're talking about a man and a woman who are married, then the word husband is appropriate. Yeah, go ahead, Alex.
I was going to ask you if you could go back to the clause nam feminae ornamentis delectantur.
Let's see here. Yeah, there it is.
And I wanted to ask, whether that introduces the ablative of means or instrument. Anyway, I think it does. I'm just making a statement. So.
It's definitely passive verb.
The before the women are delighted by, there's no by. So you don't have the preposition.
Oh, I see what yes. No, okay. You are almost right. It is in the ablative. It's generally not referred to as the ablative of means, but the ablative of
instrument.
Instrument. Thank you. Yeah.
I said that's what I said.
Did you say instrument? Okay.
Yeah, yes, he did.
Okay.
Then the answer is yes.
Yeah. Okay. Just a comment.
Yeah.
Is there a difference?
What?
Ablative of means and ablative of instrument? I thought they meant the same thing.
There's not a lot of difference, really.
Okay, from how it was done, or by what it was done.
Yeah, the ablative is used. Okay, the nominative is used for the subject. The direct object is used generally for whatever the subject is doing to something, and then the indirect object is the recipient, like I gave the book to so and so. And then the ablative generally describes how that action occurred.
Right.
So, he was killed with a sword. And certainly you could think of this as the ablative of means.
Saved by the
women
bell.
are delighted by baubles. So, different grammarians like to kind of slice the loaf a little differently. Let's put it that way. So,
Michael, one other question. In the book, in the vocabulary for versus, it defines it as again or back. It doesn't use the word turn. Is that just understood? Is that what you're saying?
oh yeah. Let's see here. Literally means to
That does say turned back, doesn't it?
reverse of something.
Yeah.
So it could be turn back, turn backwards, turn away. There's a
I know earlier in the book, Amelia was wishing
Right.
that her husband had come back when the kids were acting up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and when Sarah came in to talk to Julia, she was turned away from Sarah, so Sarah could not see her crying. And then Julia turned to Sarah, and Sarah saw that she was crying. So it's oh, and it also, yeah, it does mean again, denoting return to a former action. Okay, so it can also mean so a lot of Latin words both mean physically, meaning I am physically turning somewhere, but it can also mean with respect to the action. I am repeating the action.
So Michael, again, how would you again translate tutere versus abeunt, since abeunt means to go away? They went away, or they're going away.
Turned away.
Oh, okay. I thought it just means going away.
Well, the abeunt does. The abeunt just means leaving, departing.
Well, is it going away again, or is it just going away?
No, they're turning and going away here. The notion is that
They're like reversing direction.
Yeah, they're reversing direction and leaving.
They're going away. Well, it sounds like that's one of those where versus is actually not even needed.
Well, oh well, yeah.
And
yeah.
that crossed my mind too when I was reading it.
Abeunt, then you would say leave. Okay. Others just leave. But I would translate it a little more literally and say others
That's one of those where the vocabulary in the book is not as descriptive as it should be, because the book just says go away.
You're talking about in the
and the companion, it just says go away.
Okay.
But we've learned
are you in this particular passage? Because there's other passages where versus was definitely not going away.
No. I'm talking about abeunt.
Oh, sorry.
I'm saying that
I thought you were thinking of versus. Yeah, abeunt would be to go away. Yes.
abeunt. Yeah, abeunt.
No, the versus is what I'm saying means they turned and went away. Yeah, you're right.
There's a slight difference. Is they could just be like walking by. So
or turned and left.
Yeah, they turned and left. And versus is a very definite. They stopped, they looked, they left. Kind of is the way I see that.
The versus is an adverb.
Yes.
So it would be going away, turned back. Maybe that's what it means.
Or turned back away.
No, you can't say turned back away, because abeunt means go away. So versus means turned back. It's an adverb. So
well, it means reversed.
Okay, reverse, but
so the others reversed and went away. I mean,
abeunt means went away or go away.
Right, to depart.
Versus is the adverb. So that means reversed or turned back.
Right.
Okay.
And went away.
Instead of casually walking by and saying, nah.
Yeah, we don't really have a good English word for versus that fits very neatly in all cases. So that's why I warned you, you're going to see a lot of words in this chapter where the particular word has multiple levels of meaning that are very dependent on context.
And just one other thing, just right before that, where it says qui magnam pecuniam habent ornamenta, is that again those who have a lot of money?
Yep.
Okay, so that's where those, in this case, where it was before he who, here it's those who.
Yep.
So it's the plural.
Yeah, and the implication, yeah, and the habent is a tip off. And also,
Right.
since you're talking about viri, the implication is those men who. So.
Right. It's referring back.
Yeah. And since this is a relative pronoun, it's unfortunate that none of my relatives have magnum pecuniam. So, okay, who wants to go next? Let's see how far. Actually, I think yeah, okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll do the next one. Amelia, cuius vir pecuniosus est, multa ornamenta ab eo accipit. Amelia annulum indigito et margaritas in colo multaque alia ornamenta habet. Annulus digitum Amelia ornat, margarite colum eius ornant. Feminae gemmis et margaritis annulisque ornantur. All right. So Amelia, whose man, and in this case, husband would be an accurate translation, pecuniosus. Well, if you have halitosis, it means you're full of bad breath, right? So if it's an osis, it means you're suffering from an excessive. So in this case, it would be an excess of money, although I doubt he's suffering, but who knows?
He's burdened with all that
Burning
cash.
with all that money, yes. So anyway, boy, do we even have a English word, pecuniosus?
Wealthy.
Yeah, wealthy. Yeah, I guess wealthy would be the best way to put that. So Amelia, whose husband is wealthy, multa ornamenta ap eo accipit. So many baubles from him she accepts. Ameliam annulum indigito. So Amelia, ring on the finger, et margaritas in colo, and pearls on the neck, and many pearls on the neck, and other baubles has. So if we kind of unwind that, Amelia has a ring on her finger and pearls on her neck, colum, is neck. Digitus is finger. That should be easy to figure because even digits, we even use that word. And many other baubles.
That's a classic case where you have to jump from the first word to the last word.
Oh, yes. And in fact, this is actually fairly standard Latin word order, in that you have the subject and then you may have the direct object. Well, actually you have three direct objects there, and then you have the verb in the end. So, often the verb will come at the end. Annulus digitum Amelia ornat. In fact, there's another case of it. The ring decorates.
Or adorned is the word
Adorns.
they use.
Ooh, I like that. Adorns. Thank you.
Yeah.
Adorns Amelia's finger. Margarite colum eius ornant. Her neck is adorned with pearls, or or I should say pearls adorn her neck. Let me get the word order right for you. Feminae, gemmis et margaritis annulisque ornantur. Women are adorned by gems and pearls and rings.
So that's another ablative of
That is definitely an ablative.
Yep.
Yep.
No preposition needed.
No preposition needed. In fact, it would be a little, well, it'd be a little weird to use one. So, and in fact, what the way I like to translate the ablative, or not translate it, but I like to see it in my mind when I'm reading the Latin straight out, is when I see the ablative, I think of by means of. So women, by means of gems and pearls and rings, are decorated. So it kind of flows naturally there mentally.
Or adorned.
Or adorned, yeah.
Adored is a good word. I like
Well,
that.
in this case, ornatur is present tense. We haven't gotten to the past tense yet. But yeah, same idea though. All right, here we go. And is my wife still on? Are you feeling brave, Jen? Or are you on your iPhone?
It has nothing to do with feeling brave, but I can't read it. It'll be another week and a half,
the glasses?
2 weeks
Okay.
before I get my new glasses.
Okay. That's
And there's a lot of double vision going on,
Well, and you're on-
especially the end of the day. It's
Yeah, well, and
worse
you-
at the end of the day.
also you were on your iPhone, so it's a small screen. which-
Yeah, I was threading some of my 1032 heddles, which is going to take me forever.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're shorthanded today. Laura couldn't make it, and Michael is on the injured list, and Maria couldn't make it. And I see Allison isn't here. So we're down, what, 4 people? All right. I'll do the next one. In via prope tabernum albini vir et femina ambulant. So,
Can I
men,
try to translate it?
sure.
Okay, so in the road near Albini's Taberna to shop, so men and women walk.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'll keep going. You can handle me butchering the
Sure.
lesson tonight.
Okay. Yeah.
Qui vir etque femina. Estimate. Ooh, okay. So who is the men and the women, or the man and the woman?
No,
it's multiple women.
It's not a
No,
who.
wait, no.
I mean, that conveys the sense.
Yeah.
Okay, I will
So
grant
who
you
are
that.
these people? Okay. Estimatus.
No.
I'm sorry.
I'm not going to let you get away that easily.
Okay. I told you it's going to be a bad night for you. It's been a bad week.
No. This is a qui. It's not a quis, which would be a who.
And I was actually writing those notes down.
I'm sorry. This is qui and sunt. Never mind. You're right. Who are these men and women? Excuse me.
It would have to be a who.
Yeah.
Is Medus qui cum Lydia amica sua ambulat. So Medus and his girlfriend are walking along. Medus est servus Iulii, sed dominus eius Rome non est. So Medus is the servant of Julius, but he's not in Rome. He's not living in Rome. Medus sine domino suo cum femina formosa in viis Rome ambulat. So Medus and sine is without.
Without.
Dominos. Okay, so Medus is without his master. Whom feminine foremost. So he's without his master, but he's with his pretty girlfriend, his beautiful woman, in the roads. In the roads where he's walking with her. Ambulat.
Okay. Yeah.
Close enough.
Close enough.
Okay.
Now, bonus round. Rome in this sentence is in the
Genitive.
locative.
Vocative.
It's not plural.
Yeah, no, it's locative. Since you are in the city, when you are
Okay.
in a city, you use the locative.
Oh,
which is-
locative. I thought you said, okay, I didn't hear
which
you
is,
right.
which is the same
Locative.
form as the
Right.
gender. I mean, the same.
Right.
So anyway, okay.
That's great. They've got that in there.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. There's not a whole lot that's outright new in here. There's a few things.
They're mixing it up a bit,
But
though.
there's a lot. They've packed a lot of the different levels of ways to construct things. Anyway, all right. Lydia ornamentum pulchrum in colo habet. Lydia has a beautiful, I would translate this as necklace because we don't say ornament or bauble. Well, it might say bauble. I don't know. I'm going to translate it as necklace in this case.
Yeah, since it's on her neck.
Pardon? Yeah.
Well, since it's on her neck.
Yeah, we would, yeah, in English, we would say necklace. Quad ornamentum. Ah, now this is the interrogative pronoun. What ornament? Ornamentum quad Libya. Sorry, Libya. Lydia. Hey, my daughter's name is Libby. So ornamentum quad Lydia habet est linea margaritarum. So the ornament or jewelry that Lydia has is a string of pearls. Linea, string, margaritarum, of pearls. Colum Lydia margaritas pulchris ornatur. The neck of Lydia is adorned with beautiful pearls. Lydia autem nullum aliud ornamentum habet, quia pecuniosa, there we go, pecuniosa non est, neque pecuniosus est amicus eius. Ah, pecuniosus est qui magnum pecuniam habet.
That's a mouthful.
It is. So anyway, let's see, where did I go? Okay, Lydia has no other jewelry because she is not rich or well-to-do, nor is her friend. We know who her friend is, Matus. And pecuniosus pecuniosus is those who have a lot of money. So, all right. Any questions so far?
It
Now,
does sound like a disease.
Pecuniosus? Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It does. It'd be nice if it was a little more catching, though, or transmittable.
If only.
Transmissible. There we go.
Don't need a vaccine for that.
Yeah.
Affluenza.
Oh, affluenza. Ooh, a good one. That's a good one.
Can I try the next one?
Well, it's in the next section, but let's go for it. We got a
Oh,
little.
okay. I didn't realize that we're already in the next section.
That's all right. See, there's a little too. That's okay. That's okay. This one, I don't think. Yeah, this one's good.
Okay. Albinus shouts, ornaments.
Well, you got to read it first in Latin.
Okay. Well, Albinus clamat ornamenta.
Albinus.
Ornamenta feminarum ornamenta emite ornamenta. So Albinus shouts ornaments of women or women's ornaments, and then he shouts ornaments again, buy ornaments.
Hawking his wares.
Yeah, it worked the same way in ancient Rome as it does pretty much today.
So that's the vocative, I guess.
No.
I mean, I meant to say imperative, excuse me.
Yes. Emite, yeah, is
Now
the-
I'm thinking of the song from Oliver, strawberries, and there's all the people outside his window hawking
yes.
their wares.
The vocative is at the beginning, though, ornaments, right? Or is it?
No, he's not talking to the ornaments. At least I hope he isn't.
Okay. It's only when you're talking to someone. Okay.
Yeah. The vocative is only when you are, in fact, here we go. Lydia consiste, mede.
Stop,
It says stop, medus.
stop, natives.
Yes. Aspice illam tabernum. Look at that shop. Now, Elam, I think, yeah, Elam is new. What do we got? We got well, okay, we got about 20 minutes. So I want to mention the new part. Okay, so okay. Demonstrative pronouns refer to something specific and not generic. Okay, so quis ambulat would be who's walking. That's generic. Okay. So most of the interrogative pronouns and the relative pronouns, well, the relative pronouns are usually they refer to a particular noun, so they're not really generic exactly. But demonstrative pronouns, demonstrate from, pointing out. So they point out to, or they refer to something specific and not generic. So a generic in English would be a book, an apple, a villa, a man, a woman, etc. When we use the word a as the adjective there, it means anyone, a book. Well, it could be any book. Specific, however, is this book, this man, that man, where you are referring to a particular item. If it is this book, the presumption there is it is nearby, or that book, which means that over there. Now, in Latin, we have actually 3 sets of demonstrative pronouns in this chapter. We've had hic, haec, hoc. Whoops, got an extra there. Which we saw last time, meaning this here person or thing. We generally just translate it as this, but it does generally mean that the item in question is close by. And the new one here is ille, illa, illud. If there is a this that here, then there needs to be a that there. So the ille, illa, illud means something that is not nearby, but it is a particular object. And the one that's going to blow your mind, we've already seen is, ea, id. And we typically translate it as he, she, it. We use it as a pronoun, okay? It really isn't a pronoun. It is actually a demonstrative. It's not a pronoun. It's not a personal pronoun, excuse me, is what I meant to say. It's actually a demonstrative adjective, but we use it frequently in Latin as if it looks like in English would be a pronoun. So it really means this or that man, woman, thing, and it's referring to something already mentioned, usually in the third person. So is it down here? Yeah, here it is. So as I said, we've used it for he, she, it, but that's kind of a convenience. So you're going to see weird things like is servus, which means that servant, or ea ancilla, that handmaid, or id ornamentum, that ornament. So the difference between is, ea, id, or hic, haec, hoc, or ille, illa, illud, is that is, ea, id refers back to a previously mentioned noun. And so in English, we would generally refer to this noun as he, she, or it. So if you think and see in English a he, she, or it, or it makes sense as he, she, or it in English, then it's really you'd use is, ea, id, and we're okay. So that is, and see, I think this is the table here. Yeah, there's the table of it. So that's one thing that's new is whoops, where did I go here? There we go. So this is ila ilud, and I have the table here. I think I had the table in the notes last time as well. So, but let's press on here with the story. Whoops, here we go. So she's literally saying, look at that shop. Okay. O quam pulchra sunt illa ornamenta.
Oh, and how beautiful.
Oh, how beautiful are those ornaments. Okay. Again, see, she's there, they're over there. So it's not he, hawk, it's illa.
And the little elbow nudge and hint is understood.
Well, yeah, we're going to see that. Yes, that's coming up. That's yeah, that's the preliminary. Yeah. So, Lydia Tabernum Albini Digito Monstrat. So Lydia points out with her finger the Albinus's shop. Medus se vertit tabernum. Whoop, that's as far as we got. Well, we'll stop there. So anyway,
The plot thickens.
the plot
Yeah.
thickens.
It's a
Yes.
cliffhanger.
Well, we do know he swiped those 100 coins.
Well, see, this is how you get us all to be here next week and
Yes, exactly.
do the homework.
We got to know what happened. Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
We're just missing Teresa singing. Some sort of musical theme to this.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So anyway, we'll stop there for the moment. Let's see here. So yeah, next, couple things. Let's see. Whoops. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, try and get through chapter 7 and all the exercises. Try and get to, if you haven't gotten to chapter 8, part 1 exercises, do give it a try. I know I'm
Have you
way
seen how
behind.
many exercises there are in chapter 8? They really give it to us this time.
Yeah, quite a few actually. I hate to
It's
say it.
15. It's 15 before you get to the what are the end ones? The
pensum.
pensum. Yeah, before you get to A and B and C, there's 15.
Yeah, well,
They
and
got
that's
kind of aggressive this time.
yeah, that's because they are working you pretty hard with all of the new ways of putting the words together. I don't want to say grammar. The grammar isn't that new, but really it's the way they've glued them together.
You have to scroll down pretty far.
Yeah, there's 4 on the first set, and then there's 1, 2, 3 on the second, and then on the third there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have the Grammatica Latina, and then you have yeah. Oh my, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 there, and then you have the pensum. So
Yeah,
we're going to take a bit of time to get through this chapter, only because it's as I said, it's not a lot of new. I mean, there are some new words, obviously, taberna, gemma, margarita,
Yeah, I did choke a little bit when I started trying to read it. So
but it's using pretty much everything that you've had in the past, with a few others. We'll go through this one. We won't go through this one too fast, but I do have a question. Next time, I left this intentionally blank as to when the next time was. Next Thursday is when they are having the speaker at Annunciation. I will be in Massachusetts, regrettably. Well, it's not regrettable that I'm in Massachusetts. It's regrettable that I'll miss it. Hopefully I'll be having a good time in Massachusetts. I could possibly do a class remotely. I have everything that I need, as long as I can get a decent internet connection, which is debatable. I'll find out when I get there. But what I wanted to find out is who's not going to be here next time. Let's start with that.
I will not.
I know Teresa won't.
Yeah.
I may not.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I may not. Michael, I mean, I would suggest that given how long this particular chapter is, that would give us a little additional time.
Okay. All right. I will consider maybe having an informal class where you guys get to ask questions if you are able to attend. Again, I got to find out how good the internet connection is before I do that. Okay, but for now, we'll plan on meeting the week after. And at best, informally next Thursday. Okay. Let's see. Oh, one other thing. Did anybody take a moment to look at the videos on Saint Monica or Augustine?
On my to-do list.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get to them either.
I will go ahead and bring those up if I can remember where I put my URLs here.
I was curious, how did it, I didn't, on my calendar, it has the feast day for St. Augustine, but it doesn't have the feast day for St. Monica.
Oh, that's because Monica's fell on a Sunday in the ordinary form. In the extraordinary form, I think it's March 4th, if I remember correctly. But what they did when they redid the calendar is since Monica died Monica died before Saint Augustine, they put her closer. But
if it falls on a Sunday, when do they observe it?
She's out of luck.
Okay.
Yeah, she got shorted. Yeah, one thing that's different between the 62 missal and earlier versus the post Vatican II missal. On Sundays, they would have what was known as a commemoration of a feast. So the saint didn't get totally shorted. So you would see it like in the opening prayer. There might be multiple opening prayers. If you attend the extraordinary form, you will see times when Father actually will recite 2 opening prayers, and that's because there is a commemoration on that day of the feast. Vatican II did that.
Did you say it celebrated March the 4th on the Latin calendar?
Yeah, on the extraordinary form. Yes.
Okay, so that's a Monday. So we can look forward to celebrating it then.
Is that Monday for next year?
It is.
Okay. I think it's March 4th anyway.
Yeah. It's the one day of the year that's a command.
Oh, that's right. It is. So anyway, but let me do something just for the heck of it. Let me do this. Does this show? This should show up okay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just do it briefly.
Impendente die, quo ex hac vita Monica erat exitura.
So what he's doing, okay, now this particular place in Italy is the Ostia Antica, or Ostia, which was the main port for Rome. Eventually Rome grew so big that you couldn't really get enough goods and services up and down the Tiber, because the Tiber is a pretty small river. And so they built the port there, and he's walking through Ostia. And eventually he ends up, let me see where it is. Here it is. I believe.
Yeah, Ostia had
here it
was
is.
largely mud flats. It was very silty.
Yeah, well, they turned it into a harbor. They did. Anyway, yeah, I don't know if you can see it. In memoriam Sanctae Monicae. Sorry, Monicae. So in memory of Saint Monica. So there is a monument to her. I don't know exactly what this structure was. Monica and Augustine did live in Ostia briefly. They came down from Rome. They booked a passage back to North Africa, Hippo, yeah. And Monica came down with a fever and eventually died there. So I don't know if this is his house or not. I really can't quite read the sign.
Michael,
So anyway,
you know, as I recall, my history, Augustine died while the Vandals were attacking Hippo. I wonder,
just before, yes.
beg pardon?
I believe it was just before.
Well, they were besieging it anyway.
Oh, were they actually under siege at the time? Okay,
I think so. Yeah.
that could
But
be.
I wonder if so. And how soon before he died did she die?
Oh, she died quite a few years before he did.
Okay. I just didn't know.
I'd have to look it up. Well, we could do it here. Because he was he returned to North Africa and was the bishop of Hippo for some time.
But she lived,
yeah, 387. Yeah,
she lived long enough to see him convert.
convert.
Right?
Yes, yes. His conversion was right around 386, maybe 387. Yeah, I mean, this was just after he converted. So yes, St. Augustine. Let's see if we end up in Florida. No, Canterbury, wrong Augustine. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Hippo. That's the one we want. And let's see here. Yeah, he died in 430. See if it mentions his conversion. It should. Carthage, 10 years as a Manichaean. What year was that? Okay. Conversion 386. Yeah, that's right. Is where he converted. So it was like a year or so before she passed away. So
All her prayers
yes.
were answered.
Anyway, it is 9 o'clock. So with that, I will mute everybody and we will say our oratio finalis. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Pater noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum. Adveniat regnum tuum. Fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimite nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimitimus debitoribus nostris, et ne nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos a malo. And so with that, I will stop